Right, I'm back from my little adventure in the Far East, and I'm happy to report that I really enjoyed myself. Wish I was still there, back in cold and windy Britain now. Yeah, lots to see and do in Japan. Too little time to do it. I got back on Sunday. So I was staying in Narita, which was nice and quiet on the whole. The trip over and the trip back seriously took it out of me. It's a 4.5 hour flight from the UK to Turkey. Then you've got about a 5 hour wait for the next flight. Then it's an 11.5 hour flight from Asia Minor to the Far East, and then back again. It's a bit of an ordeal, but well worth the trouble. Yeah. First full day over there in Japan, I explored a town called Sakura. Very chilled out place, laid back. This old man, a local, volunteered to show me around when he saw me looking a bit lost, I suppose. He showed me a Buddhist temple, took me inside. It's the first time I've been inside a Buddhist temple. Showed me also around the grounds of a little elementary school close by, and he took me to a secluded spot to see the grave of a former Japanese Prime Minister some 300 or so years ago. I sensed this old fella, he very much enjoyed giving me the tour of his little home area. It was a cool experience. It'll stay with me. If you don't just sort of randomly go off the beaten track, I suppose, you don't get to experience things like that. Yeah. Okay, second day. Well, before I went out on the second day, I suddenly came down with some brutal but thankfully short-lived illness, a savage bowel movement, and then a cold sweat. So I'm thinking it must have been something I ate, because within a couple of hours I felt better. Anyway, when I do feel better, I go into Yuno, which I probably just pronounced incorrectly, which is the old part of the giant that is Tokyo. Yuno Park. Yeah, it's fantastic. Museums, galleries, and I took a trip to the zoo there, which is the oldest one in Japan, I believe. I don't remember ever seeing a panda up close or in the flesh before, so yeah, that was special. It seemed like a very education-oriented place. It looked as if the animals were very well treated, I'm glad to say. I have mixed feelings though about going to zoos generally, but it was nice to see the kids getting excited, having a good time. There's also people performing, doing various acts for money for the tourists in Yuno Park, entertaining the masses. Sad to see there's a few homeless folks in the park also. Yeah. Over the last few days of my trip, I took in Chiba City, Funabachi and Narita City, where I was staying. Chiba was quiet and pretty, I thought. Yeah, nice buildings there. A good place to relax. Yeah. Funabachi was more hustle and bustle. Lots of interesting alleyways in Funabachi. I got lost. It's my own fault. Yeah, it took me an hour to find my way back to the train station. As far as Narita City goes, if you come here, you have to see the Narita-san Shinshoji Temple and the surrounding area. It is breathtaking, it's spectacular. It's like stepping back in time to a different world. Very beautiful, achingly beautiful. My words don't do it justice. Yeah. Last full day in Japan was a Saturday. I took the train into Akihabara, which has been referred to as the Mecca for geeks, or nerd capital of Japan. Electric City, which is set around the train station there. It's very garish, very loud, colourful. It's a real head trip. Yeah. I stayed for what couldn't have been any longer than a couple of hours. Any longer than that, I think, would have been a bit much for me. The maid cafes with the cosplayers was interesting, very eye-catching and stimulating, let's say. Yeah. What I'll take away from Japan is the very welcoming, lovely, friendly people. Polite and shy, kind of, but genuine folks, yeah. There's an orderliness and harmony which you can't help but notice as you're travelling about. Not once did I encounter any rudeness or anyone acting in a hostile or antisocial way. I get back to the UK, I see those things about 20 minutes after landing, yeah. I can see myself coming back to Japan for one reason or another. I've got a couple of ideas knocking about in my head. Anyway, it was a lovely experience. It's a privilege seeing sights like I've seen and taking in a very unique culture, yeah, one that is alien to the West in many ways. Good food, good people. If you do get the opportunity to go, please do. If you're anything like me, you will not be disappointed. And on that, I bid you all a fair and pleasant day, folks. Peace.